Welcome, everybody, to my YouTube page, Coach Gomez. This is my first clip where I'm actually speaking in English and not in Dutch, where I'm actually going to tell the world my life story. I'm a silent kind. I love to write. I've been writing for 35 years now, and this past week, June 28th, I turned 39 years old. That means I will be 40 next year. Oh, Lord, help me. Anywho, I wanted to explain how I'm still alive, how come, how that happened, and what the reasons were as to how come I almost died a couple of times. But I sticked around. I enjoyed life too much, obviously, so I'm still here on this earth with y'all, writing all of my rhymes out, speaking, standing on stages, sharing my love, all of my wisdom, all of the knowledge that I get to hear from my spirits. They're always with me. All of my ancestors are always with me. And I might not know half of them because, daddy issues. I don't know who that dude is for real though. But that's my journey. It's been a long journey, and I think I'm halfway. Maybe I'm almost at the last step. I don't know. I just know something is about to happen. Something is about to pop, and I'm popping, popping. So this is an open letter, and there will be more open letters. I'll try to put up a video at least once a day. But oh, my nail polish just flew off. Just look at that stuff. See that there? I just did these yesterday. Like, bye bye. Okay. Yeah, I shouldn't do that anyway. Polish my nails. It takes too much time, and every time I polish my nails, I have to go and do the dishes or go to the toilet and unzip my pants, and things get ruined. Anyway, the idea is to record and put up a short little clip of me sitting here in my little corner in my temple in my house. As you, if I look that way, know that I'm looking outside. I live ground floor, and there's a park across the street and a pond, and like an animal farm at the back, and a humongous park behind it. And behind the park, there's Ahoy. Rotterdam say Ahoy. That was stupid. Anyhow, so I will be sharing my life story. I have a lot of stories to tell. I have a lot of fun stories to tell, and I have a lot of not so fun stories to tell. But either way, all those stories made me into the woman I am today. I have been writing, as I said before, for 35 years now. And the reason I started writing is because an older man called Ome Willem in Dutch. We used to live in his house, my mom, my other sister, and me. My father was a sailor, so he was hardly around, and we needed a place to stay, so he took us in. And when he noticed that my dad would only like have eye for my lighter skinned sister, so to say, because I am obviously dark, uh, he started noticing that my dad would take that sister and travel with her to Amsterdam, where my half brother lives. I won't mention his name. I love him too much, and I don't know enough about him to say anything. But so he's the only person I'm keeping out of the story. Um, but anyway, my dad would take my then older sister, still older sister, she's still alive, to see him, and he would never take me. And I don't know why, what the reasons were behind that. At the time, I didn't know. I didn't even realize it was going on. I did know that my dad would leave, and I would be just me, myself, and Oma Willem at the house. My mother was a cleaning woman. She would clean offices, or I don't know what she was doing at the time. I think she was cleaning in hospitals then. Um, and left me, to my devices with Oma Willem. And luckily for me, he wasn't no Uh, Grumpy old sad little ass man who liked to play with little kids because there are a lot of those types of dudes around. But instead, he taught me the only thing I still know to do like best, and he taught me how to write. I couldn't read. I couldn't read for shit. Of course, I wasn't even attending school those days. I have to watch the time. I don't want this to be longer than 10 minutes. At least not the first one. I wasn't attending school at those days, and my older sister had just attended kindergarten, so I was not, it was not my turn yet to go to that hellish place. And I would just copy whatever he did. I would just start like drawing. I could say I was drawing out whatever he was writing. I don't know what it is he wrote, because yeah, I couldn't read at the time. Excuse me. I'm sorry if here and there my English is a little bit poor, but my brain goes off in three different languages: in Dutch, in the Creole language, which like where I'm from, Cabo Verde. I was born in Holland, and then the Dutch, and the English. Yeah, I mentioned four, but two were the same. So sometimes I think in English, and then I want to say something in Cape Verde, but then it comes out in Dutch, and I'll be like confused. That's okay. As long as y'all catch me. If you don't, I'll just put up a comment or something down below, right here. Yeah, somewhere. And I'll catch up with you. So he noticed my dad would leave me, and I wouldn't be getting as much attention as my sister did. Like I was like the invisible ghost in the house. Like I was the smallest then, but I cannot remember or recall a time where I was held closely or dearly. I cannot remember a day that my mom came to pick me up, you know, sat me on her lap, or just just something, nothing. The words "I love you," Nilza, I think she didn't start doing that, like, but then it wasn't even real. She never really meant it, but just to say, I cannot recall her taking me by the hand, walking in the park. My dad would take us out walking later, but that would be in Rotterdam. Um, so that's like how that's what like started like the path on how I became a writer, because like Oma Willem died about a year and a half into it, 2 days before my newer youngest sister was born. We moved out of that house 2 days after. I missed his funeral. I don't even know if we were ever invited by his family, because it was a white family, and I cannot recall seeing any of his people visiting that house, his house, when we were still there. And so, like, let's just say Oma Willem passed away on a Monday, and I saw his dead body on the bed because drama. I'll tell you the story later. 2 days later, like my mom gave birth to my youngest sister. Then I have two younger sisters now, and like 3 days later, or 2 days, like within that week, we had moved. So Monday morning, before I got out of bed and I just woke up, my life was living with Oma Willem and my mom and my sister. And my dad was hardly there. And by Friday, I woke up as a 3 year old. Let me just say, as a 3 year old, I woke up in a new house with a new baby sister, with no Oma Willem. Nobody explained even where happened to him. I don't recall my dad or mom sitting me and my sister down and explaining the story, like, yo, he passed away, he's with God now, blah blah, yada yada yada. So that was like silence, nothing. Just Willem dying, new baby sister, moved the fuck out the house, and nobody said anything. And that means that at the end of the day, that was a lot of hurt and pain that I at the time didn't know how to deal with. How do you deal with losing someone at 3 years old and not having your parents explain to you um, what happened, like 3.5? And I was really an understandable child because the story I'm telling you now, I tell this from my own recollection. I know what happened. I can still vividly feel the emotions, the insecurities, and the fear I had at the end of that week because that was like the first moment I started realizing that my family couldn't see me and that it was only Oma Willem that actually saw me, saw something in those big brown eyes um, that he wanted. Oh, I'm past 11 minutes already. That went so fast. That he wanted to nurture, and I'm thankful he did. And it took me a really, really long time to get to where I am now, on the verge of fulfilling all of my dreams. Um, so yeah, this is my first explanation as to how I became, what was the basis of how I became a writer. I'm still writing. In fact, I'm a spoken word artist now. I'm a teacher of the spoken word. I do performances on a regular basis, and I'm currently writing my two poetry books. One will be in English and one will be in Dutch, so make sure to catch those when I'm done. All the while, I'm looking for a publisher. I'm writing a book about my life. I've started doing these things years ago, and noticed that I usually never finish stuff, and that had probably a lot to do with. I'm just gonna go push it to 15 minutes. I had a lot to do with how I felt that my life always was unfinished, and it started that way. I had a lot of questions that were unanswered, and I even stopped. I didn't even, you know how little kids have that little trick and they ask why all the time, like why, but why, and why, but why? Like everything is why. Why does it rain? Why is it wet? Why do I have to breathe? Why do I have to wake up? Why everything? I didn't do that. I've had my older sisters tell me, I've had aunts tell me, I have my even my mother and father tell me, like, you never asked a shit. Like I never asked a single question. And then later I realized that maybe it was because I saw that all I was getting from my parents was bullshit. So every time I would ask why, or I heard my sisters ask why, they would get like this crappy answer back, like, oh, because I'm the man of the house and I'm your father, and you will listen to what I have to say, even though it's crap. And I didn't buy that shit then. And I just stopped asking questions and started observing my relatives, my family, what my environment was like, and actually started plotting and scheming as a little child to paint my own world, to write my own life, to make my own fairy tales. And I would just have to wait until I was old enough to move out of the house. And by the time I was gone, I had so much catching up to do that I had such setback that I think it's taken me 10 times longer than anyone I've known just to have foundation. You know? I mean, I just turned 39 years old now. This was my 33rd move from home. I have never had a steady foundation or location, and I needed to have that first before I could move on. There was a lot of hurt, and I needed to move on. All the while, I just stayed. Just hung in there and knew that my life would be worth something at the end of the day. And I was just waiting for that moment, for that glimmer of hope, for that one person to say, your life matters at the end of the day. And I want to finish by that and hope that you will join me in my journey looking for my father, my real father, pursuing my career, achieving all of the dreams I still have. I'm singing with my band. I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing everything that I can just to live. Survival mode has been shut off, and now I'm just living. I had a little life left at the end of survival, and now I'm just going to live it to the fullest, live it out. So I'm going to leave you guys with this, and I hope it's okay for me to share my story. Give me a thumbs up if you like to hear more. Don't give me thumbs down if you don't like it. Just move along, scroll to another YouTube page and go comment somewhere else. But just if you got nothing nice to say, don't say it. I love you guys.